Good morning, everybody. Hey, so highest and best. I want to take a second to talk about highest and best from two different fronts, okay? We got highest and best offer and highest and best use of a property. So, on my way out here to an appointment in Covington, Georgia, and going to look at a rental property that someone is interested in selling and needs to sell. So anyways, highest and best. All right. So when you're getting offers on a house, or you're looking to sell your house, you may have heard the term highest and best, right? And that means a couple different things. You have highest and you have best, right? So they're not necessarily one and the same. Sometimes they are, a lot of times they're not. And that is because sometimes the highest offer, which is the highest dollar amount you might get for your house, can come with a lot of strings attached, okay? Or a lot of uncertainty. So I know in some instances I've made offers on people's homes, and my offer necessarily wasn't the highest offer. And they ultimately decided to go with someone else's offer that was a little bit higher than mine. And a lot of times what happens is that other offer ends up not being all that was cracked up to be, because sometimes you have other investors who might make you an offer quickly and then realize, oh crap, I forgot to account for X, Y, and Z. And then they try to come back to you later and renegotiate that offer down because they uncovered X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. Maybe the roof or the air conditioning unit, or there's a foundation problem, or whatever it may be. Or maybe the person who's making an offer is wholesaling your house to another investor, and they're maybe inexperienced, and they make you an offer that's not accurate, and they have to come back and try to backpedal and renegotiate. So that's a possibility. And in those cases, they might ask to extend your contract out. And they might not close when they say they were going to close. They might keep extending the contract because they're trying to find a buyer for the property, another investor that might partner with them and buy it, or they need to renegotiate because of some certain repairs on the property. So that means that highest offer is probably not the best offer, because that highest offer now isn't all it was cracked up to be. So when you're getting an offer on your house, you need to make sure that offer is the highest or the best, right? Or it could be highest and best. In which case you're going to need to evaluate, okay, are they asking for a really long due diligence period? If they're asking for a really long due diligence period, that means that during that due diligence period, they can back out of the contract for any reason they want to. And they may back out last minute. And you may think you had your house sold, but they back out. Or, maybe they want to have, a contractor come look at the house and evaluate it. And then they might come back and renegotiate because they found X, Y, and Z. Because maybe they're not good at analyzing a property and understanding what things cost to repair and the conditions of things. Fortunately, like at my company at Arbor View Properties, I'm pretty good at looking at a property and understanding what I need to fix. So my offer that I put out there is going to be the best offer I can give you, and it is what it is. If I tell you I'm going to buy your house for $120,000 or whatever the price may be, that's what I'm going to pay for your house. I'm not going to come back and try to renegotiate you later. I'm not going to come back and ask you to do certain things. I'm going to Dogs do not run in the road. There, puppies. Woo. I'm not going to ask you to... Sorry about that. There's some dogs that almost ran down the road. Didn't want to hit them. I'm not going to ask you to fix stuff. I'm not going to, I'm not going to come back. It is what it is. And I'm going to close when I say I'm going to close. I have the ability that, sometimes I mention that some people wholesale properties. I do that. I wholesale properties sometimes that don't necessarily meet my criteria. But the good thing about my business model is if I tell you I'm going to close on April 20th, even if I can't find a buyer for that property by April 20th, I'm still going to close on it and I'm going to buy it from you at the price we agreed on. And then I may sell it after the fact. Sometimes I'll keep it. Sometimes I'll renovate it. It just depends. And so that means that what I offer you is my guarantee. I may not be the highest offer you're going to get, but I'm going to be your best offer. I'm going to be the one that I do my due diligence up front, and I make sure that I'm giving you an accurate and fair offer right there when I make it to you. And I'm not going to come back and backpedal later and try to change that. And then maybe if you're selling through a real estate agent, I'm also a real estate agent myself. I'm a licensed agent, although I focus more on, buying houses and doing the investment side of the business, but I do carry a real estate license. I do hold a real estate license, and I'm licensed in the state of Georgia. And so I understand what happens with traditional deals. And sometimes you'll get a high offer, but then the buyer has all these stipulations about, we want you to do this and this and blah, 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 blah. And then they try to renegotiate you later, and then they ask for more. And at the end of the day, that offer that you thought was good really isn't all it was cracked up to be. So you need to make sure that you're looking at that from the best, like looking at it from all angles, because those other offers can be a pain in the butt, and they can drag out for too long, and they can be really, really, really stressful. And that's up to you to determine whether you want an easy, quick, clean, guaranteed offer, or you want to be willing to deal with some pain in the butt factor and go through an emotional roller coaster and maybe get a few more bucks at the end of the day. That's entirely up to you to make that decision. And you should make that decision for yourself. So let's go to highest and best from a property perspective. This is a term used in the real estate industry, basically saying what is the highest and best use for that particular piece of property. And that can change over time. Maybe if you're close to a city or a major highway, maybe when you bought your house 30 years ago, there wasn't a major highway there. Maybe that highway was not so major back then, but now it is, and it's very commercialized, right? In that case, the highest and best use for your property might be that it needs to be commercial. It's not a good residential property anymore. Maybe, there was an instance where I had a property, or I had a seller approach me last year, and I went and looked at their property, and I knew that there was a highway expansion that was going to happen, and the DOT had actually published their projection of where that new, I think it was like 6-laning it, where that 6 lane was going to run. And this 6 lane was literally going to run smack dab right through the middle of this house that this person wanted me to buy. And I evaluated it, and knowing, and speaking with some of my other investor friends, I've determined that dealing with the Department of Transportation is a pain in the butt. And it can take years and years and years, and they lowball you on your price, and they will buy up everything around you at lowball prices, and then those become the comps, and then they use that to justify giving you a low price on your property. Even though they're supposed to give you market value like they say they're going to do, they mess with the market values to get them lower so that they can buy up all the properties and put the highway through. So I opted not to buy that property because it wasn't going to be a good investment for me. So I just said no. And then you also have instances where You may have a property that maybe it used to be farmland, but there's a lot of developments going on around it. So maybe the highest and best use of your 5 or 6 acre property is actually now to be multiple single family homes. We've done that with other projects in the past where we come in and because of development around it, we'll subdivide the property and maybe we'll keep your house that's there and then we'll build a couple new houses near it. You never know. So that can also affect the price of the offer. And then you also have instances where maybe there was a neighborhood that a long time ago was really nice and it's gone downhill in the last few decades, and the property's just not worth what it was worth in the past because things have changed and it's gone downhill and it's now not desirable anymore, and the price goes down. And then the inverse of that happens. There's a lot of in-town neighborhoods in Atlanta where people are moving back in and renovating them, and they're moving into these older neighborhoods that were very blighted at one point in time. They were very nice at one point in time, and then they kind of went downhill and became blighted, and now they're on the way back up. An example of that is like a lot of East Atlanta is really turned around, and it's very popular, and the prices have gone through the roof, and lots of younger people are moving down there because they want to be in the city, whereas before you kind of had a lot of people live out in the suburbs. I personally live way out in the suburbs, and I like it because I have acreage on my property and I love being out kind of away from everything. That's where I like to live. I don't like the city, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with living in the city. Everybody has different needs, wants, and desires, and that's cool. So understand that can affect things. I looked at a property recently, and they had they were on a power line, and that was just, it made the property less desirable because people don't want to live on power lines. These power lines were actually put in place a long time after the owners had this house was very old, so these power lines came along after the fact. When they had first built the house, those power lines were not there, but now they were there across the property. And I told them, like, look, this, people don't want to live under power lines. I can't offer you what you think the property's worth because it's just not worth that. Now with these high tensile power lines, it's worth less money, and unfortunately that happens. So anyways, I hope this all made sense to you. Make sure when you're analyzing highest and best, you're picking the best offer. I personally like to pick an offer that's the best offer, right? It comes with less strings attached, and it's easy, and it's not going to be a pain. Because at the end of the day, to make a couple extra bucks, sometimes it's just not worth it. So hope that all made sense. Thanks for joining in with us today. And y'all have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later.